played quite a lot with gratitude, and so many things that I wanted, I got to me very easily when I was practicing gratitude. And that was, for me, it was another boost, because I saw the results. I saw that I was attracting all kinds of beautiful experiences, and I said, okay, it's really something here, and I really need to go deeper.
Hello, and thank you for joining me here on Hope to Recharge podcast, the podcast that's designed to break the stigma around mental health and to create some hope and inspiration and give some practical tips to those that are struggling with mental health, whether it's from personal stories to break the stigma or some advice from professionals in the mental health community. Whether you are struggling with mental health on your own or you know a loved one that is struggling, we are here to support you and to create a community so you know you are not alone. The road to recovery can be difficult and challenging. At Hope to Recharge, we believe that in mental health, together is always better. I'm your host, Matana. Thank you for joining me here today. Hello, and thank you for joining me here on Attitude of Gratitude Thursday. Today, I'm not going to do a solo episode again. I have somebody that I'm super excited to introduce to you because this person helped me in my gratitude journey. He's also a fellow podcaster, but his podcast is all about gratitude. His name is Gorgian Benta, and his podcast is the Gratitude Podcast. Simple. The Gratitude Podcast. I think he publishes every day. Gorgian, is it every day that you publish?
It really depends. So there are periods in time when I publish daily, but there are other periods in which at least once per week you get an interview episode.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for joining me here today. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your wisdom of gratitude with my audience, because we keep on trying to improve our gratitude and we want to hear what's working for others. And you're the pro, because you're really, you work at it and you podcast about it all the time and you interview and you do the work. It's really inspiring to watch your journey with gratitude. Thank you for giving us your super busy time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's really an honor for me to be here, and I really, really appreciate your kind words.
So as you hear, he's not an American. He's from Romania. He's from Romania. And just in that, like, just take it for a second that someone from Romania is podcasting in English almost every day or every other day or even once a week. Like, just let's take that in, like the dedication to gratitude that it's not his first language. English is not his first language, and he definitely leaves his comfort zone to podcast in English. So all of our English speakers can benefit from his learning, not only someone that understands Romanian. And so that's really inspiring to me. I want to give the audience a little bit of a background on your journey. How did you come about starting a podcast on gratitude?
Of course, like many other stories of this kind, it started with, say it was a breakdown, but I really felt that I hit rock bottom at that point. Even though I'm not a very religious person, I prayed a lot in that period, and for me, the answer was gratitude. The story is much longer. I'm cutting it short. But the thing is that in that moment, I felt amazing. Even though everything was bad in my experience, even though the situation was as it was, I was able to feel grateful and I was able to feel happy. And then I realized that I have an immense power to be grateful and to appreciate things in spite of how they look or how they are. And that feeling, I wanted more of it, and I wanted to explore more on how it can help me and other people in the future. And also I was very curious about their stories, about how they use gratitude in their own experience, because I've heard many stories from Oprah, from Anthony Robbins, talking about gratitude and its power, and I was curious how other people used it for upgrading their life and for making it better, for making a difference for other people. And I thought, why not make a difference as well and share these talks that I'm having with the world.
That's fascinating. How old were you when you hit rock bottom?
Let me see. So that was about 4 or 5 years ago. So I was like 25 or so.
So very young, very, very young, starting off life in the real world, right? Tell me a little bit about your background in terms of what kind of family did you grow up, what kind of environment, and what do you think made you reach rock bottom?
The situation was that I was doing my master's in business at that point. I was also working on a business with a partner, and things didn't work out. And I was very ambitious back then and worked quite a lot. And the thing is that I've put in so much time and effort and energy that I really didn't have time for other things. And that's what contributed to feeling that I hit rock bottom, because I was like laser focused, only working on a business, not spending time with friends or family. And when that failed, it was very hard on me. Yeah, probably there were other things that are related to this. The fact that being young, I wanted to prove myself and to make sure that I have some kind of a big success. But it was very interesting how that actually turned out and how much that experience helped me. Regarding my family, what exactly would you like me to go into?
Did you have a happy upbringing? Was it a positive experience? Did they practice gratitude when you grew up, or was it more laser focused on life, get through the day, we have a mission, not so much into the spiritual growth of a person?
I grew up with my granny, even though my parents were close by. I wasn't living with them. So I was lucky from that point of view, because I don't know if other listeners have been grown up with their grandparents, but it was easier for me to grow up. She was more understanding and more caring because she had the time, and that was very, very beautiful. And from that point of view, I feel really lucky and blessed. As far as my parents go, they also had this perspective on gratitude, not as developed, but they still have had something. And I always like to remember a moment in time when my mom told me to say thank you. And one of the things that I love to share with people, with my listeners, or when I'm on other podcasts, is that we were taught to say thank you, but we weren't taught to be thankful and to feel the appreciation for what another person has done for us, even though it might be something really small and insignificant. But just the fact that we were helped in a smaller or bigger way, that makes us feel grateful if we choose to see it from that point of view.
That's very, very interesting, because I grew up with parents that it was a priority to be grateful. Like my father used to force us to write thank you letters to our teachers, to the faculty staff, to friends, or any positive experience that we had, even if it wasn't like the best experience, but he believed that you need to be grateful. And he really powered up that emotion in us to want to say thank you and to show gratitude to it, not only by saying it, by writing, by giving, by showing up. It was a huge word by us growing up. I grew up in Israel, and the term is hakarat hatov and is in Hebrew, and it was part of our staple growing up. You just have to have it. And I feel lucky that my parents instilled it in us, because it's, as you said, it's not something they say thank you, but do you really feel the gratitude to the person? Are you really in the moment realizing what that other person did for you? Are you trying to ignite that emotion? And I feel really lucky that my parents taught us that from young. It's a treasure because we get to experience life in a different way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it common in Romania to grow up by grandparents, to not be at home?
I don't know if it's that common, but the roots of this is in the communist regime. I was born right after, but the education was that parents should get back to work as soon as possible. And usually grandparents took care of the children. I'm certainly not the only one, but I can't say for sure that it's something that's the norm here.
Interesting. So I want to go back to your practice with gratitude. So you were about 25 when you realized that you need something to ignite your happiness and to not be so down and in the dumps. And you started the gratitude. Was it through something online, like something that you saw on Oprah? Like, what was that first memory of you said, okay, I think this is it? Do you remember what it was, that aha moment?
Yeah, well, it was actually the answer for the prayer. For me, it was very fascinating that even though nothing else changed on the outside, I was so happy. I was feeling the appreciation that I felt for different things for the first time. Like for the first time that I moved to the city, I felt a certain thrill, a certain excitement, a certain happiness. And I felt that once again when I first moved to the place where I lived, when I first got the pet that I had at that point. So different things that were simple and that were already in my life, the only thing that changed was my appreciation for them. I've also played afterwards. I played quite a lot with gratitude, and so many things that I wanted, I got to me very easily when I was practicing gratitude. And that was, for me, it was another boost because I saw the results. I saw that I was attracting all kinds of beautiful experiences, and I said, okay, it's really something here, and I really need to go deeper. And I got to do the podcast because I searched for all kinds of resources online, and I couldn't find something that I was thinking about doing, interviews specific on gratitude. And I was also inspired by Think and Grow Rich. Basically, the author interviewed the most successful people in the world about business, and he shared what he learned in the book. So I thought, why not do something very similar to this about gratitude? Because it's a really interesting topic, and I've tried many things until I got to gratitude, and it was something that was very, very helpful, whether when I was down, to get to appreciate those things that are working in my life, but also when things are great, they are so much more fulfilling when you're grateful and when you take the time to appreciate them.
Yes, it's I call it the higher voltage. We just feel like we really can feel sometimes it could be an ordinary moment in life that we usually don't realize that it's special, and then we just get like a zap of energy. And I really get goosebumps, and like I feel the bloodstreams in my body. And I'm like, okay, that's a gratitude moment, without even thinking that it's a gratitude moment, because we're just tapped into that extreme joy of noticing things that are day to day, that are really gifts, really, really gifts. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, taking it to the next level, even when you're like so happy and so joyous, to take it to the next level. Can you share with us what a day in your life looks like with gratitude in terms of practice?
Yeah, so first thing in the morning, one of the things that I love to do is to think about 3 things that I'm grateful for, whether that's from yesterday or what I'm looking forward to in the day. And I also love to breathe in fresh air. For me, that's really a powerful practice that somehow connects me with nature and gets me feeling grateful more easier. Another thing that I love to do, some of the things aren't daily, so I do some things maybe once per week or at different intervals of time. I like to give myself the freedom to do what I feel as well, and I don't want to be like in the military and do things because I have to. I love doing gratitude meditations. I actually recorded one, and I love it so much that it's the gratitude meditation that I actually do, and it's almost 10 minutes long. Another thing that I do and that I always recommend is integrating gratitude as much as possible into our day-to-day lives. Like, what I mean by this is actually being aware of moments of gratitude, of like I said, saying thank you and appreciating what the other person did for you that you're thankful for, just thinking about things differently. And this is one of the things that I am doing on the podcast. For instance, when we receive a package from the
I was just thinking about that. It's as if we're having like a really moment of connection, because I was thinking, like, can you imagine when the UPS truck comes or the mailman? How grateful are we? Do we show the real appreciation for the fact that so many people needed to do something for it to get to us? I would like to take this opportunity to pause for a second and give a big thank you to our sponsor, BetterHelp.com. Have you been thinking of getting therapy for a while, but you live in a place that doesn't have therapists that meets your need? Or are they too expensive for what you can afford and you really want to get help and therapy? Or do you travel a lot and you can't access the therapist when you travel? Or do you come home from work and it's too late to go to an office for therapy? Well, BetterHelp.com is an online platform for therapy. You can access thousands of therapists and choose from the therapist that meets your need. Go to betterhelp.com/hope to recharge. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hope to recharge to receive your 10% off on your first month. Take charge of your wellness. Go try them out. They really try hard to match you up with the specific therapist that will meet your need. Don't wait to get help. Go now. BetterHelp.com/hope to recharge. You can access them from your phone, your tablet, your computer. You can be in your bed and you can receive your therapy you need. Don't wait longer.
Exactly that. It's amazing that you just maybe put an order and things just happen for you and you get the package, even if it's from very, very far away, and you have no idea the whole journey and how complicated it might have been for the package to get to you, and you just receive it, and it's something really amazing, and you basically don't have to do much for it. And I also love an interesting perspective about restaurants. For instance, if you would be an alien, let's say, and you would look at this experience from that point of view, you basically walk down the street, you see a beautiful place, and you decide that, and of course it writes there restaurant or something like that, and you just go in, you grab a table, someone comes to you and asks you nicely what you want, just brings the food and takes the food away and washes the dishes and does everything. I think just this simple experience of going to a restaurant and eating is something pretty amazing that we can really appreciate. And if we just look from another point of view, like, what if it wasn't something normal? What if it's something really amazing that you just go to a random place, you are greeted beautifully, you receive food, you receive beverages, all you need to do is pay for that, just put some plastic there, or I don't know, give some paper away. I think it's pretty amazing. Or for instance, grabbing a cab, you just go maybe to a almost random car and get in, you tell the driver where you want to go, and you just get there. That's it. You don't need to think about parking. You don't need to think all about many other things. You just enjoy the ride.
Right. And unfortunately, I think that in our society, and I'm not here to bash our society, but I think it's just part of life, because things come to us pretty easy with all the applications, technology. We don't have to farm our own garden in order to eat in the morning. We don't have to milk the cows in order to drink the milk. We have things coming to us so easily, we forget the process and what it would be if we needed to actually do this on our own, and how much more time we have. But because we're so used to this constant give us, and it's rapid, we're forgetting that it's really an incredible moment of gratitude. And as you were talking about the restaurant, I just realized that I'm wondering if gratuity is really for gratitude. When they changed it for tip, but maybe it's really supposed to, like, maybe we should keep it. Gratuity is probably like, give your gratitude, say thank you, and really appreciate the hard work of the person that was helping serve you and get whatever you want, so you can have an enjoyable, restful moment of a long moment of eating. As you were saying, I usually write thank you on the bottom, but now I'll look at tip instead of tip as gratuity. Like, we'll really go back to gratuity and experience it and think about it. How much work went to this actual moment, like dinner, lunch experience, and how much I enjoyed it and what it saved me in time and effort. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I sometimes feel that myself and my children forget how lucky we are to live nowadays and to take in the moments, doing a load of washing machine, like just putting things into a washing machine, and within 35 to 45 minutes, it's ready, and we could just throw it into the dryer. Growing up, we didn't have a dryer. We had to hang all of our clothes dry, and I remember it was a big task. And sometimes I can ask my children, can you please take the laundry and put it into the dryer? And they could roll their eyes. And it's painful to think about it but in a way they didn't know otherwise. So I have to also give them the respect and understanding that they didn't have the transition of seeing what it's like to not have a dryer and washing machine. And do I feel grateful every time I put in laundry? I feel grateful that I have clean laundry, but do I feel grateful that I don't have to go to the river and scrub it clean and carry these heavy laundry to the river like they used to do? And so there's, as you said, there's so much to be grateful for, and in the day-to-day simple actions that we take.
Exactly. There are so many things that we have ready-made or are very simple for us. But another perspective is thinking about these simple things for us are very complicated many times for the ones that are making them simple for us,
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, you mentioned apps and other things of this nature. Many people had to think a lot and work a lot to make them simple and easy to use for us, and are still working hard to make that happen,
Right.
And we don't see that. It's something that happens on the back end, and we don't see that. But I think we can feel very grateful to experience that, because that's basically, even though they're doing this for many other people, we can still feel special and understand that one way or another they're doing this for us, and they're doing this to make our life much easier and much more enjoyable.
It's so true. And as you're speaking, I'm thinking, if we only powered our gratitude the same way we power our frustration. So let's say we have an app that's working great. For example, Facebook, the once in 3 months that it goes down, it hits the news setting. Everybody's in a hype if it goes down for 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. The hype of the disappointment and frustration just shows how much we really need to give the same energy to gratitude when it is working. How grateful should we be that we can communicate easily for WhatsApp, for a phone that we can call internationally easily, for communication, for stuff like that. I use Amazon Fresh for my grocery delivery. I sit in my couch. The next day it's at my door. I didn't have to get out of my comfort zone. I didn't have to get into the car. I didn't have to drive. I didn't have to carry. At my door, delivered the next day, packaged nicely. That is like amazing. And we need to start powering up the gratitude just like we power up the frustration. And I think this is a big aha moment for me. For example, if Amazon Fresh comes, yes, we pay for the service, and yes, we expect a lot when we pay for something, but it doesn't mean that we can't be grateful when it does work properly. And when they show up at our door and everything is packed up properly, be super grateful. Just as much as when the blueberries come mushed up and they weren't packaged properly, I was so frustrated, and I'll call to complain and ask for my money back. Let's power that same thing for gratitude. I'm going to start working on that. I'm really going to start working on that. And that came clarity as thanks to you to sharing this idea with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And I was thinking about how we work as humans as well. Like when we get sick, that's the moment when we realize that we were healthy until then, that's when if we choose to, we remember to appreciate our health even more. But we don't need to get sick to appreciate our health. We can appreciate our health even though we are healthy, and we don't have to go through an experience to remind us that most of the time we are healthy and we can do so many things.
Was there a book that you read that really made a difference to you in your gratitude journey?
There were a few, but to mention just one, A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Okay.
It's a really amazing book that really brings a lot of contrast to like almost anything that's going on in your life is really small and insignificant, and really shies away from what that man went through in the concentration camps, and how he managed to get out of there and do something amazing from that. That's very inspiring.
Okay, so we'll have it in the show notes. I wanted to ask you a few more questions before we wrap up. How long are you podcasting for already with gratitude?
Since 2016, since August, I could say, yeah.
So 3 years. And do you always have something new to share on gratitude and an experience?
Well, I think there's always something new to learn from the standpoint of interviews. Even though I've done more than 160 by now, I think I'm always learning something new, and so I think you can go very deep into a topic, and you can learn many different nuances and different points of view and different things about yourself when you study a topic like this.
Yeah. What do you hear from your audiences? Do you hear like incredible stories?
Yeah, these are amazing, and I'm always very grateful to receive messages or emails from listeners, and I'm really really very grateful for them, and it's the fuel that keeps me going, and an amazing feeling to know that I'm able one way or another to impact people from all around the world. It's amazing.
Yes, it's super gratifying to know that what you're doing of the act of gratitude and showing up, it can actually change somebody's life anywhere, in China, in America, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Africa. And this is, again, we have to be grateful for technology, for our microphone, for our internet, for our minds. There's so much to be grateful for that is able to change someone's life, someone else in the world that you don't even know, that your message and your practice is actually changing someone's life. And it's beautiful. And I really want to give you a blessing that you will continue to shed your light of gratitude and impact so many other lives, and be able to spread this message that gratitude really works. And it's such a powerful tool that we have in our own minds and hearts and souls, and we can fire it up, and it's our choice to do it, and we choose what we want to spend our time doing. And why don't we choose something that is super long-term gratification and a power tool, instead of tools that are costly and not so gratifying and not a long-term effect. And gratitude just has that. So I really am excited about our conversation, and I want to give a shout out gratitude to Himanshu. Himanshu introduced me to you. So how did I come to find you? We have I'm a part of a bunch of gratitude chats. One of them is more entrepreneurs that get together, and every morning I post a gratitude quote. And before I started it, Himanshu was in charge for a while. We switched off, and he did it in a very fun way. Every day he would give us like another task, like an interesting task. And he posted your podcast I think you're also on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he posted a few things, the exercises that you gave to do. This was over a year ago. And I remember clearly, and I'm like, wow, who is this guy? And that's when I started following you and practicing with you. And it's amazing how you come across things and how somebody can change somebody's life. So thank you, Mantra, for introducing me to this incredible podcast, the Gratitude Podcast. So we're in the holiday season. We're all celebrating this. This is coming out right after Christmas and during Hanukkah and the beginning of the year coming and so much celebration. How do you want to go into the next year with, like, what are your hopes for your life, for your gratitude journey? What can you share with our audience to wrap this up with some insight and inspiration?
Well, there is a tradition with the Gratitude podcast that has been going on for several years. Every time in the second part of December, we look at each and every month of the passing year, and we find three things to be grateful for, and we write them down, and we have by the end of it, we have a beautiful list with 36 reasons to feel grateful for that particular year. And this is also happening right now on the podcast. It's probably, when this will go out, it will be we will be getting to November or so. But I really advise everyone listening to do this, and you will see that no matter what you want for 2020, you will feel blessed, because you will see how many blessings you had in 2019. And it will also be very, very helpful to see the things that you write there, and the things that actually matter for you. That's why for me this is a really powerful exercise, and I'm really loving the process, and also the result itself, and how it actually gets me to feel grateful whenever I'm thinking about what I want for 2020. And from that point of view, there are some things that I want, but on the outside, but more the things that are on the inside are more powerful for me and more important for me. And as long as I am happy, healthy, filled with gratitude, and enjoying life, this is what matters. The experiences, they can be many, but as long as I'm clear about what I want from a feeling standpoint, that's the most important for me.
That's beautifully said. How does someone remember, if they'll say, I don't remember what happened last month, how do I remember what happened in January? What tools do you give them to remember and reflect back?
I actually have 3 plus 1. So the first one is using Google Photos. If you're backing up your photos in Google Photos, you can just search for January 2019, and you will see all of the photos that you took in January. Another way is, if you already have a gratitude journal, you can browse it and look for things you wrote in January. A third way is to actually go through your photos or through your Facebook or Instagram and look for that particular month. And the fourth one that I just found out these days, that I thought that might be interesting for people, is just look at your calendar, because many of the things that we are grateful for have to do with experiences. And if you're a little bit organized, or at least you're using calendars a little bit like I am, like I write everything there. I have many experiences written there, and it's much easier for me to remember, like, oh, I did that in that month. That's so interesting. And that helps me remember the experience and feel the feeling that I felt in that experience. And it's really, really something beautiful that I recommend to everyone.
Yes, I often tell my listeners, look at your phone. It's so revealing. Just look at your phone, look at your pictures. You don't have to remember. Thank God technology remembers for us. And in a way, it's a curse, because it doesn't allow us to remember, because our everything in our memory is really on our phone. But at the same time, we can pull it up and we can go back to it and experience it again. And many times, instead of movie night, we do photo night. We go down in our family. I have 5 kids, and we sit down and we look at videos from our past. We choose a year from the past, and we just scroll through it. And there's a lot of laughter and so much gratitude in our heart of things that we forgot that happened, experiences that were remarkable, events. I like using Facebook memories because I always say thank you, Facebook, for reminding me what to be grateful for, because it always gives me, it reminds me, and it puts a smile on our face. So those are great tools. Thank you for sharing it with us. And I'm sure I'm going to have you on again in the future. And I want to wish you happy holidays, a happy new year. And you should continue to feel this joy and gratitude for the rest of your life. And you should always be around people that have the same wish and desire to be grateful, that you should inspire each other and grow from each other and have a journey in life that is meaningful and grateful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me here today. You can find Gorgian on the Gratitude Podcast. Is there anywhere else?
Yeah, the Gratitude Podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, basically everywhere also, there is an app. If you are on iOS, you can download an app for the podcast where you have all of the podcasts and you can interact easier. Just search for the Gratitude Podcast. You will find many opportunities to listen.
Yeah, we'll put it. I think I'm going to put your logo on the cover of this episode. That'll be easier to find you. It's a very cute little sketch of the podcast. It's really sweet. So thank you again. Happy holidays, everybody. Remember, tune in, reflect on the past year. It's not too late. It's not too late to reflect before you go into the new year. Reflect with that positive energy. Invite it into your life. Invite your positive energy. Invite the gratitude, because when you come into the new year with an abundance of gratitude, it just jumpstarts you to a positive beginning, and you're just on a race of phenomenal things coming your way. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you for listening. Bye till next time. Thank you for joining us and taking the time to listen. I really appreciate it. Please hit the subscribe button so you can hear further episodes. If you are listening to us on iTunes, please leave feedback and ratings below. Let us know if there's any topic that you would like to hear from us in the future. Bye till next time.